Hi, folks. Welcome. My name is Rick Kramer, and if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. I got to tell you, what I'm about to present, I'm super, super excited about. And for those of you who know me, I like wearing my hat. And the crazy thing is, with this green screen, it appears that it kind of disappears in the background. So let's go ahead and move forward. But before we do, if you've been to any of my webinars, you know I love my dad jokes. So here is the first dad joke, or probably the only dad joke. And by the way, if you have dad jokes, please put them in the Q&A because I love those dad jokes. How many tickles does it take to make an octopus laugh? 10 tickles. 10 tickles. 10 tickles. 10 tickles. Anyway, I know what you're thinking, like, just come on, show it already. All right, welcome everyone. Today we're going to be talking about file sync, but new and improved is, are you ready for it? Over here is file sync, now with Bluebeam project file synchronization. So what does this mean to you? Is that today we're going to be looking at identifying the challenge of cross-collaboration between platforms. Then we're going to introduce the solution of GRAITEC File Sync. We're going to understand how this solution really uses our proprietary software to sync between these platforms. We'll discuss the Bluebeam integration and then understand the key benefits for AEC professionals. Then I'm going to do a demo. It's going to be so easy. You're going to love this. This is an amazing application. And at the very end, if there's questions, feel free to use the prompt in our meeting for asking any questions. At the end, I'll see if I can address any of the questions that you may have. So first, let's identify the challenge. The challenge that most professionals will use and encounter by using cross-platform platforms is isolated information. The information is siloed from one data to another. Architects, engineers, and contractors use multiple different tools for different projects for design, management, and review. The problem with this, it lacks seamless file integration and creates bottlenecks when you're starting to look at data from one cloud solution to the other. If you're trying to update the information from one cloud silo to another, like Bluebeam and Autodesk Construction Cloud as an example, those require manual updates and a manual procedure to copy and paste or upload that information from one cloud platform to the next. This can create version delays and errors, which can be very costly. So here's where the solution comes into play. Something called File Sync. Here with GRAITEC's proprietary software called File Sync, we enable smarter data delivery, which enables us to migrate information from one cloud platform to the next or cloud to on-prem. And that information then can be used to collaborate easily with your team members, which also gives us the ability to create instant backups. If you've ever wanted to go through and start to back up your information from Autodesk Construction Cloud, Ignite, SharePoint, any of those solutions, or now Bluebeam Revu projects, that information that lives on the cloud, especially those large projects, when you want to back them up, those have to be done manually. There's no really easy way to do that. With File Sync, our software allows their user to set it and forget it, giving us the opportunity to migrate information, collaborate, and back up information at any regularly scheduled interval that you want. Now, our File Sync now currently supports Autodesk, BIM 360, Procore, Ignite, SharePoint, OneDrive, Microsoft, and now Bluebeam, among many, many others. Now, if you're looking for a solution to back up your information or transfer, we probably already have a connection point between different clouds. And if not, please reach out to us and we'll make sure to put it on our list. But I think you'll find that we can pretty much talk to any cloud platform and transfer or copy that information from cloud to cloud. Now we're including Bluebeam projects, which is amazing. I have to tell you, I'm a Bluebeam guy. If you've ever seen any of my presentations, you know how much I love Bluebeam. Now we have the ability to cross-platform between Autodesk and Bluebeam projects. So how does this work? Today, I'm going to show you how we can sync smarter between Bluebeam and Autodesk and vice versa. In our integration, I'm going to highlight how we can sync files automatically between Bluebeam projects and the Autodesk Construction Cloud. I'll create syncs both ways, and then this is going to enable us to collaborate for our projects for a streamlined workflow. What are the benefits, you might ask? Well, the benefits are time saving, which reduces manual handling of files. If you've ever worked in Autodesk Construction Cloud, you know you can have hundreds of projects. Imagine not having to worry about that and just setting it on your server and letting it run overnight. File Sync allows us to do that quite easily. For me, I got to tell you folks, this is an amazing no-brainer application to install. This minimizes the delays in file sharing cross platforms and between employees in any location or cloud platforms. This ensures having the right information at the right time. And the integration is easy. It couldn't be simpler. I'm going to show you in today's presentation how we're going to set this up in about 12 minutes, which means I think you can do it in 15. Seriously, this is a really easy integration, which allows us to work smarter, not harder. So, are you ready? Here goes. Let's do this live right now and see it in action. But before I begin, let's kind of do a quick overview of what I'm going to do. First, what I'm going to do is set up the connection, allowing File Sync to connect to Bluebeam Studio projects, and then have that project create a transfer over into Autodesk Docs. By the way, the setup of connecting Bluebeam in what we call workspaces will only have to be done once. Then from here, I'll set up that workspace, which will automate the sync, and we can create schedules and even notifications of any progress delays or completions. We'll create a sync process, and we can even do multi-project. Now, in today's little demonstration, I'm just going to do one project, but imagine you could go to 5 or 500 projects and create syncs across all of your Autodesk Construction Cloud projects to Bluebeam projects, or vice versa, or maybe Autodesk Construction projects to SharePoint, or vice versa, SharePoint to Autodesk Construction Cloud. Now, keep in mind, you have to be invited to those hubs in Autodesk Construction Cloud, or in Bluebeam projects, you have to be invited to those projects and able to access that information. We'll do a real-time sync, and we're going to monitor and validate these synced files. And then I'm also going to demonstrate how we can introduce versioning. Now, if you're already using Autodesk Construction Cloud, you know how important this is. When we start to take a look at these files on Autodesk Construction Docs, we can see the version on Autodesk Construction Docs. In my demonstration, I'm going to open up Bluebeam projects, open up a file, create a new change to it, and save it back to that Bluebeam project. Run the sync, and then on Autodesk Construction Cloud, that particular project will see the version change. This is a game changer. This had to be done manually a long time ago, and now the solution is right here at your fingertips. Then lastly, I'm going to add a new file over here in Bluebeam projects. I'll run the sync, and we'll see live how that information can be transferred and synchronized over here on Autodesk Construction Clouds. So a lot of times as a Bluebeam support specialist and certified instructor, I always am asked, how do we get Bluebeam to talk to ACC projects? Well, File Sync is an easy way to do this. Prior to today, this had to be a manual operation. And with File Sync, manual operation is a thing of the past. So if you're ready, let's go ahead and get started. I think you're really going to like what you see. Almost dropped my tea. Okay, here goes. All right, let's take a look over here in Bluebeam Revu. Now, in Bluebeam Revu, what we're going to be taking a look at is the opportunity to start to take a look at projects. You'll see here in Bluebeam Revu, I have my project highlighted over here on the left-hand side. In Bluebeam Revu, Typically, the projects, when I go to Studio Projects, I would have to go through and enable my projects and start to look at those projects. Manually, what I would want to do is back up each one of these files, not only the files, but the folders themselves. You notice inside of each one of these folders can be different type of file types. In this idea, I would want to go through and manually have to go through and back this up. What I want to do is transfer all of this information and synchronize it over here to Autodesk Construction Clouds. Autodesk Construction Cloud over here, I have multiple different projects. The project that I want to back up to is this one called 2024. You'll notice over here in project files, I currently don't have any files located inside of my project. Here in Autodesk Construction Cloud, I'd like to transfer that information. Typically, I would have to do this manually by uploading one project or one file at a time. You can imagine how tedious and long this would be. Now, let me introduce you to File Sync. First, what we're going to do is create a connection. Here, I'll click on the right-hand side and create a connection. Built into the application, we can go to Autodesk Build, BIM 360, Bluebeam, OneDrive, Procore, or even SharePoint. Easy to use interface. Let's take a look at Bluebeam integration. Once I click on it, I'll sign in on my Bluebeam site. And by the way, you only have to do this once. I'll sign in with my email address and password. Hopefully you didn't see my password. I'll go ahead and click sign in. Here, it's going to create what's called a public token. Now, this only lives once and it's unique to me. I'll go ahead and copy this to my clipboard, right click and copy. Then I'll simply go to File Sync. Up at the very top is an area for me to paste my public token. Now, again, this only has to be done once. I'll go ahead and hit OK. Now, I already did this before, and that's why this dialog comes up. I'll go ahead and give it a name. In this case, the Bluebeam connection and the name of the company. I'll go ahead and hit save. Here are the list of all the different connections I have. Today, we're just going to be focusing on the Bluebeam connection. Next, let's create a workspace. A workspace gives me the opportunity to sync information from one environment to another. Let's go ahead and create that workspace. Here, as an example, I'm going to type in the name of the project. In this case, the sample project here in Bluebeam. My workspace is going to transfer the information from Bluebeam projects over to an ACC project. Since I really like the name, I'll go ahead and copy that into the description and put in the name of the company, GRAITEC. I can schedule this for daily, weekly, or custom schedule. As you can see, I can set the schedule up for anything that I like. In this case, let's go ahead and just leave it for a manual workspace, a work sync. Here, you'll notice that I have my workspace, and now I'm going to go through and create the sync. The workspace enables us to engage in any of those projects in Bluebeam to ACC. And now I'll go ahead and create the sync. The sync allows me to connect different projects within Bluebeam to ACC. Here, I'm specifically going to go to my sample Bluebeam project to my ACC project. You can have multiple syncs created here for different projects. Here on the left-hand side, I'm going to identify the source, in this case, my Bluebeam project. When I click on the list below, I will just see the projects that I've been invited to. Over here, I'm going to select my studio permission sample and include all the subfolders. I want to automatically bring in all that information. I can also exclude any of the files that I don't want. In this case, I want to bring everything over, so I'm going to turn this off. Where do I want to copy Bluebeam to? In this case, to ACC. Again, I have to be invited to this hub to be able to transfer information to this. Here, I'll see all the list of all the projects that I've been invited to. In this case, I want to copy this over and sync it to my 2024 File Sync project. Awesome. I'm going to put it in the folder called Project Files and then create the folder inside there. I can either copy everything once or do incremental changes. Here, it's important to do incremental changes if I want to create versioning. I'm going to go ahead and select versioning yes and incremental. Those two work hand in hand, like peanut butter and chocolate. All right. Now, over here, I can delete files that are not applicable. I'm going to leave that turned off. And now all I have to do is run the sync. I've gone ahead and clicked to play the sync. And now in our activity monitor, we can see exactly what's going on. What it's doing live, it's opening up the project in Bluebeam and copying over and synchronizing all that information to ACC. Now, this might take a few seconds or a few minutes, depending on how large your project is. You'll notice over here, it is going through pretty accurately and amazing. I don't have to do a single thing. My activity monitor will start to tell me all the information that's there. Once it's complete, it'll tell me it's done. Let's go ahead and clear the log. And next, let's see what happened. Remember, I was copying that information from Bluebeam projects to Autodesk Construction Clouds. Now over here, if I open up my studio permissions sample, here I can see all my individual files. Not only files, but all the folders. See, over here, let's take a look side by side with Bluebeam Revu on the right and Autodesk Construction Cloud on the left-hand side. Folks, this is amazing. I would typically have to do this manually. Each one of those folders are now synchronized on Autodesk Construction Cloud. How easy was that? And I can set this up to run daily, weekly, any customization that I want. In this case, I might want to run it overnight. Now, let's take a look at versioning. If you've used Autodesk Construction Cloud, you know how important this is to keep up with your versions. Let's go through on Bluebeam projects. In this particular folder, I'm going to go ahead and check out this file. This is something we would typically do in Bluebeam projects and open this up. Here, I'm going to make a comment. Let's go ahead and create a Cloud Plus, and I'm going to simply window around this object. Here, I'll go ahead and change some of its appearances. And in this case, I want to add a note. Over here, I'm going to say, let's move this over to the right-hand side some. This note or markup has now been added on my Bluebeam project. Yep, let's move this over and slide it over. Now, all I need to do is save the file and check it back in. Now, this procedure is a normal procedure that I would be doing on a daily basis on Bluebeam Revu projects. It's now updated on Studio projects. Let's pretend it's the next day and I went through in that sync and had that sync run every night at midnight. I'm going to go ahead and push to start the job now manually. Live, you'll see what happens. Now, typically this would run overnight or anytime I want. Let's see how quickly this does now. You'll notice it's going through and skipping all of the files that have not been changed. Remember, I'm just looking to update the version from Bluebeam projects into ACC. And it's done. How quickly was that? It identifies very easily just the project files that have been updated. And then in Autodesk Construction Cloud, let's see what happens. Again, I updated this particular title block sheet, and let's see what happens in Autodesk Construction Cloud. Ta-da! It's magic, right? This is amazing. Now I can see the different versions in Autodesk Construction Cloud. This was automatically done. In this case, if I run this at night, I don't have to worry about any versioning, and I'll always have the latest version. And here I can see my version 2 on Autodesk Construction Cloud. Markups and Bluebeam Revu now work seamlessly with Autodesk Construction Cloud. Folks, this is a game changer. If this is the first time you're seeing this or you're wondering, how did you live without it? Well, now is the time to get this application. I got to tell you, I'm not a salesperson, but this just makes sense. Let's take a look at another example. Here, I have an empty project folder for external PDFs that I want to review. In Bluebeam Studio Projects, I'm going to simply upload some new files into a studio project. I'm going to select these files, and again, typically I would work on these here within Bluebeam projects, and quickly it uploads these into the studio project. Let's go through and run file sync one more time manually. Typically, again, this might run automatically at night. I'll go ahead and create the sync and start the job. I've gone ahead and started the job, and now let's look at the activity monitor. You can see it's going through and now checking everything, and you'll notice it added those 3 files. Pretty amazing. And here they are: fabrication, my ground sections, and my structural plan. And if you notice, it skipped everything else automatically. Let's go ahead and clear the log and now take a look at the files that were here updated in Bluebeam projects to ACC. And there they are. There's my structure plan, my ground plan, and my fabrication. And now I can simply click on it, open this up, and continue to work on this, should I decide to, using the tools in Autodesk Construction Cloud with all the little tools that I have here on my toolbar on the right-hand side. Folks, this couldn't be any easier. And it's all made possible by File Sync. I got to tell you, this just works. Oh, I got to tell you, it's really an amazing application. So with that, let's go ahead and see if you have any questions. Now, I'm going to see if you have any questions. Let's take a look at the live chat area. But before I do, we got some exciting news for you. If you take a look at your screen, this is crazy. We've extended our Black Friday sale 10% off. This, by the way, only needs to be installed typically once on your server, on a computer that's located somewhere on your network, and this can run overnight, again, on one file or one project or 500 projects. Imagine the time that you can save when using File Sync. And if you click on the Redeem Now, you can save yourself 10%, which is a lot of money. This is, again, folks, an amazing and easy to set up project application, I should say, to copy projects or synchronize projects from one cloud solution to the next. Again, this was just using Autodesk Construction Cloud and Bluebeam projects, but we can also go from Autodesk Construction Cloud to on-prem storage or Autodesk Construction Cloud to SharePoint or vice versa. In another webinar I did, we populated the information from SharePoint into an Autodesk Construction Cloud project, creating all of the folders. It's all done using File Sync. I got to tell you, it's just, you can see, it's a great project. It's a great application. So if you have any questions, let's see. Is this webinar going to cover Bluebeam integration with Procore or just Autodesk? So Rob, this webinar is only going to demonstrate Bluebeam integration with Autodesk Construction Cloud, but Procore, maybe we'll do another webinar on that at another time. But yes, we do synchronize with Procore as well. Again, feel free to reach out to us with any questions that you may have. You're very welcome, Rob. I hope you like the demo. Let's see what other questions we have. You know what? While I have the handful of people right here, by the way, what's the temperature where you're at? Over here for me, it's 74. I'm going to put it in the chat over here. Don't hate me if you're up north, and I'm over here in Florida. Let's see where everyone's at. I'm curious. I love to see where everyone's at in the world over here. So it's nice and sunny here in Florida for now. Although in a handful of months, it'll be really nice and warm. Ooh, 53 in Georgia. I'll tell you, 58 in Texas. I think it's 56, 30s. It felt like it was in the 30s over in Georgia with Misty. Ooh, that's too cold. All right. Well, if there's not any other questions, I want to thank you all so much for your time. I hope this was fun and informative and introduce you to an amazing application, again, called File Sync. This is really a game changer, and feel free to reach out to us. By the way, there's also a 15-day demo of File Sync that you can install on your computer or your server to run it. Now, keep in mind, it has some limitations. There's a storage limit, so you can't do like 100 gigs or something like that, but it gives you an idea on how easy it is to set up. And again, if you have any questions on creating the setup or configuration, we can help you. I got to tell you, if I can do it, you can do it. All right, Ryan, are you able to Bluebeam files to an existing Autodesk project? Oh, okay. So Ryan, that's a great question. So Ryan asked, are you able to basically, I think, connect the Bluebeam project files to an Autodesk project? So the answer is yes. You cannot create a new Autodesk project using File Sync. the Autodesk Construction Cloud project needs to exist first. Or in this case, what I did is the Autodesk Construction Cloud project was already existing in the hub with nothing under project files. What I did is I pointed Bluebeam projects to migrate and copy, not migrate, but copy and sync all the information from projects into Autodesk Construction Cloud. But the project needs to exist first. And same thing if you're using integration between, let's say, SharePoint and Autodesk Construction Cloud or vice versa. The folder in which it's being copied to or synced to needs to exist. So in this case, if I'm going from Autodesk Construction Cloud to a location on SharePoint, in SharePoint, the folder has to exist first. The folders that are located inside of your Autodesk Construction Cloud will be copied over, but the parent folder or project needs to exist first. Great question, Ryan. Let's see. Good. You're welcome. Did someone say, I got to go back up. Did someone say 0? It is 0 degrees in France. Wow. We got folks watching from across the pond. Welcome. 0. How's that possible? Oh my goodness. That's crazy. Very good. Very good. Well, again, thank you all. If you have any questions, again, feel free to reach out to us. Also, take a look. You can click and download a free version of File Sync. Just simply click on Redeem here. Install it. Give it a whirl. I think there's a limitation. I know there's a limitation. I think it's like 15 megs or somewhere thereabouts. So you can test drive it. Again, I think you'll really like it. I would almost say guaranteed if you don't like it. I won't say it, but you're going to love it. Okay. Thank you all so much for your time. My name is Rick Kramer. Stay tuned for another webinar on our website. Take a look at our upcoming webinars, and you'll see that maybe you'll learn something. Again, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks, and happy holidays. Bye.